In the last level, I mentioned this kind of concept or this thing I hear very frequently in sessions, which is that Beth, we have the same goals. We have the same goal, but we just have different paths. We have different ways of approaching and then getting those goals. So, yeah, like, okay, go. But when we start to kind of dig through all of this, what we find is that those different paths tend to be what we have conflict over. They don't have to. I mean, if we truly were like, yeah, that's totally fine. We have different paths and we'll just meet there at that shared goal. Here's the problem. We don't, right? Like, my path's better, makes more sense, is obviously more efficient, um, smarter, just all of it. Like, why would you take that path? That's dumb. Like, or, my path is superior because it's the path my family took and my family is better. So that's the path. And you're over there on that path. And of course, you're on that path because your stupid family would be on that path. And of course, that's the way that they would do everything, the slowest way possible. So just like zero respect on the different paths. Or we don't talk about the different paths so much because we're frustrated about them. That is another reason that we're disconnected. That the goals might even start to look different because we're on such different paths. So I am okay. I am, as a therapist, if you told me that, I would say, okay, I'm okay. But are we giving each other the space to take your own path? Are we cheering for you on your path while I'm on my path? Are we saying, cool, I'll see you at the end line whenever we get there because we have that same goal? Or do we need to say, maybe the different paths aren't so great because we're pulling apart? Can we get on the same path? And we might have to kind of, do a switch back and forth, onto the different paths as far as compromising goes. But again, we get so so like dug in on these issues that it's like, well, no, I mean, people will just, Beth, if I pulled, these are for my Seattle people, if I went out and pulled all the people that are running the Burke Gilman Trail right now, 9 out of 10 of them would say this. And I'm like, are you for real? I don't care what 9 out of 10 people are on the Burke Gilman Trail are doing. That does not matter. What matters is what works for the two of you. If 9 out of 10 people on the Burke Gilman Trail would do this certain thing, which I probably am going to disagree with, so that's an actual fact, but let's say that they did. If you got one person over here, which is your partner, is not down for that, we got to talk about it. We got to really try to be much more respectful of the different paths and recognize if those different paths are creating too much disconnection. And there needs to be some compromise to get you closer, right? So then another thing I'll say, which is, I just really wish, Beth, that we could get on the same page. I just want us to get on the same page. And my answer is always, okay, cool, yeah. Whose page? Rarely is someone like, I just want us to co-create this page, but they say I want us to get on the same page. What they're saying is, I need this person to get on my page because my page, again, makes more sense. It's the clearer path to the goal. Can we just get on the same page? But again, same page, my page. Can we co-create the page? Can we recognize the differences? And like, is it because that's just how our brains work? Because sometimes, right, like my husband has ADHD. His brain's going to work different than I do. He's got ADHD and he's a Virgo who's a perfectionist. Like, so we have to do a lot of things, separate paths. And I have to work really, really hard to be respectful and to trust his process. With the caveat of, right, if his process is, creating a huge time delay, that I can say, hey, can we talk about this? So it's either he's putting it off, that separate path is not necessarily the best one, but he can hopefully come to that without me having to say that. All I'm doing is recognizing, hey, we kind of made this commitment and this isn't happening. And I'm feeling anxious about it, or I'm feeling concerned about it. Not, yeah, I let you do it your way and it's totally failing, just like I thought it would. I mean, that's one way to say it, and people do say it that way. It is not creating a culture of appreciation, which is what we're trying to do. It is not adding to the bank account, which again is what we're trying to do. What I was trying to say earlier too was that so much of our own formed kind of like meaning system of our life, right? Like what are our values? Very much so come from our own background, family history, experiences, right? So some of us could have, certain family and then maybe had certain experiences, which then are going to very much guide the decisions that we make and the ways that we make decisions. And again, when we're dating, all of this, like all the good is there, right? That's a good person. We don't feel the same way when that good person gets drunk and is an asshole to the waiter, right? Where if that was our first impression, that might not have been a continued relationship, but because it's coming out later, we're like, ooh, this is okay. That doesn't fit into the shared meaning that we thought as good people, which is why that is too vague. And we need to get down into more of the granular things. We need to get into the nitty gritty. Not just I want to be a good person. What does that actually mean? What are our goals with that? For now, for this homework assignment, what I want you to do, this is kind of fun. So like, I want you to write out some of the goals that you could say, yeah, these are the goals we have. But we do have these different paths of how we have gotten there, how we're trying to get there, right? I want you to recognize whether or not you tend to criticize your partner's path if it's different than your own. Do you tend to believe that your path is superior? And if so, is there a reason for that? Does it come from a certain place? Right? Have you noticed that the different paths are bringing up conflict and disconnection? Right? And then lastly, what are some ways in which you could be more supportive of your partner's path? What do you maybe need to work on being more supportive of the path that your partner's taking, especially if it's different than yours? I think this is going to be a cool one for you guys to look at and really talk through, because sometimes just putting it out, we realize like, oh, there is more alignment than we thought, or we definitely can do better here if we just compromise and get a little bit closer to a similar page. Again, maybe with a, what's this called? I want to call it like figure eighting, but it's switchback or something. Yeah, like maybe it has to be a switchback where we're kind of hitting this way. But I don't know what it's going to be. And I don't think you know right now. And that's why we need to do this, so that we are creating the plan, so that the shared meaning system feels like something that we are like consistently actively working on, that we do not just put, all of that up in the attic and never look at again and kind of ignore it when we see those areas where we're not aligned. Bring it down. Like this is our life. This is our meaning. This is our purpose. This is our, where is it shared and where is it not, where we can be supportive. This is how we live our life. This is where we can put, purpose, meaning. This is going to be a really important one as we get to the goals and the intention and the planning. Because this one, while it's up there, is often one that creates a lot of conflict and a lot of assumptions. And, because we're not getting even into how important or like into the depths of it, because we're not managing the conflict in that way. But when you do, and you start to, and you can start working on this stuff, it's really beautiful, because you will find there's more alignments, or there's just more maybe willingness to hop on each other's pages more frequently. Again, because more connections happening, because there's more care, because there's more respect, because we're just more like, I love this person and I don't care that much about sugar cereal, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Okay. Whew, this is a doozy, but I know you can do it, and I think it's gonna be fun. I think that you're gonna kind of laugh a little bit once you realize, like, oh yeah, I am over here like yelling at how dumb I think my partner's path is, even though I'll tell my therapist, oh, same goal, different path. Doesn't work as well if we're just being critical, right? Because what does criticism bring out? Defensiveness. And then we get into process, and we never got into what this issue was. All right, see you soon.